All right, welcome back to the deep dive. So get this, Tesla, they're making headlines with a refreshed Model Y launch. But wait, there's a twist. They're also dealing with a massive recall. And their stock is doing the jitterbug all over the place. It's a real head scratcher. So we're diving into this document, hot off the press from January 11th, 2025. And trust me, you are going to want to stick around for this one.
Yeah, it feels like Tesla's at like a crossroads. This could be a real make or break it moment for them.
Okay, so let's unpack this thing, starting with the Model Y refresh. They just dropped it in China with a price tag of 263,500 yuan, which is about 29,200 pounds. That seems pretty aggressive, right?
It is, especially for a car with this many upgrades. But there's a 5.4% price bump compared to the last version. So it looks like Tesla's trying to walk this tightrope, trying to stay competitive on price, but also actually making a profit in a market that's getting more crowded every single day.
So what are we talking about here? What are the big changes with this Model Y? I heard it has some Cybertruck vibes going on.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's got some design cues from the Cybertruck and the Cybercab. You know, the most obvious are those futuristic light bars running across the front and the back.
Yeah.
But they've also really upped the luxury factor. Heated and ventilated seats, even a touch screen for the backseat passengers.
Wow. A backseat touchscreen. Kids these days are living the dream.
Get this. The range is a whopping 447 miles. That's a serious statement, especially in a market where range anxiety is still a big deal for a lot of buyers.
Okay, so isn't Tesla like a big player in China already? I thought they were dominating over there.
Yeah, not quite. In fact, their market share actually dipped from 11.7% in 2023 to 10.4% in 2024. And these local brands, like BYD Wuling, even the tech giant Xiaomi, they're coming in hot with some really compelling EVs. So Tesla's not just fighting for market share, they're fighting for survival.
So this new Model Y is like their secret weapon to win back the hearts and wallets of Chinese consumers. But wait, you mentioned the six-seater version. What's the deal with that?
That's right. A six-seater is on the horizon. And deliveries for the current version are set to roll out in March from their Shanghai factory, focusing on China, Asia, and Australasia first. It's a smart move. Test the waters in those markets, refine the model based on the feedback, then potentially launch it in Europe and North America later.
So it's like a strategic rollout, like a soft launch before the big global debut. All right, so before we move on, I want to get into the nitty-gritty of this Model Y refresh. What are the details? What are the things we need to know about?
Well, there's a Launch Series edition that comes with some exclusive bells and whistles. Think badges galore. On the liftgate, door sill, even the puddle lights. Plus, they're throwing an acceleration boost for free with the long-range AWD Launch Series.
Hold on, free acceleration boost. Isn't that usually something you have to pay for through like an in-app purchase? That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it is. Maybe Tesla's realizing they need to sweeten the deal to really stand out in this super crowded market. Speaking of standing out, let's talk about those exterior changes.
Yes, those light bars are seriously cool, but are they just for show? Or is there more to them?
They're not just eye candy. The light bars actually improve the car's aerodynamics, which, directly translates to better efficiency and that impressive 447-mile range. But here's the really mind-blowing part. They redesigned the body castings for a smoother, quieter ride. We're talking about a single-piece casting now, where they used to use 70 separate parts.
Wait, 70 parts down to just one? That seems like a massive engineering feat. What does that actually mean for someone driving the car?
It's a game changer. Think about it. Fewer parts means fewer potential points of failure, less noise, and a more solid feel on the road. It's all about that seamless, integrated design that Tesla's going for.
And I noticed they added a front venter camera, just like the Cybertruck has. Is that just for parking assistance? Or could this be hinting at some future full self-driving features?
That's a great question. The front bumper camera could definitely play a role in enhancing Tesla's self-driving capabilities. Imagine improved object detection and better maneuverability in tight spaces, maybe even for their actually smart summon feature.
Okay, that's pretty exciting. And what about the rear light bar? I heard it's not your typical light bar.
Right. It uses something called an indirect reflective design. Basically, the light bounces off a reflective surface inside the car's body instead of shining directly outward. And it creates this really unique diffused glow that's both stylish and functional.
So they're really pushing the boundaries of design with this one. It's not just about being flashy, it's about innovation. It's about doing things differently. I also noticed they're introducing a new color, glacier blue. But here's something that caught my eye. They removed the tow hitch option. Isn't that a bit strange?
It does seem odd, especially considering how many Model Y owners actually used that feature. Maybe Tesla's data showed it wasn't being used as much as they thought, or perhaps They're concerned about it impacting the car's range and performance.
Or maybe, just maybe, they're trying to nudge people towards the Model S or X if they need that towing capacity. It's like they're subtly repositioning the Model Y within their lineup.
That's a good point. It's a subtle shift. But it could have big implications for how people perceive the Model Y going forward.
All right, let's step inside. Let's talk about those interior upgrades. I'm hearing good things about that luxurious feel.
Yeah, it's a definite step up.
Yeah.
In terms of luxury, you've got ventilated seats, ambient lighting, high-quality materials throughout. It's clear Tesla's responding to feedback about the interior quality of previous models. They're aiming for a more premium experience, especially since the Model Y is supposed to be their mass-market vehicle.
So they're trying to make it appealing to a wider range of buyers. And what about the tech features? Any big changes there?
So they kept the main 15.4-inch touchscreen, but now all versions come with an 8-inch touchscreen for the rear passengers. Plus, they've improved the connectivity. Better phone key range, clearer calls, and faster cellular and Wi-Fi.
So basically, they've made it a mobile entertainment hub. For everyone in the car, I'm guessing they've upgraded the chipset and Bluetooth to handle all that, but the biggest surprise of all has to be the return of the turn signal stock.
I know, right? After all that back and forth, the stock is back. It seems like Tesla's finally admitting, maybe, just maybe, some good old-fashioned physical controls are still relevant in this age of touchscreens.
It's a smart move. Not everyone loved those touch-based controls. And they kept it simple. Just one stalk on the left, the gear shifter stays on the screen, autopilot button is still on the steering wheel. But here's something interesting. Those steering wheel buttons are now customizable, like the ones on the Cybertruck.
It's all about personalization and giving drivers more control. Makes you wonder what kind of functions people are going to program into those buttons.
I'm sure we'll see some creative uses for those. Speaking of control, how does this new Model Y handle on the road?
They've made some significant improvements to the handling and ride quality. Tweaked the suspension, tires, and wheels, so it's smoother, quieter, and more responsive than the previous version.
So they've really focused on refining the driving experience. And what about the performance specs? Is this thing actually quicker than the older Model Y?
Absolutely. The 2025 AWD Model Y can hit 0 to 60 mph in a brisk 4.3 seconds, while the RWD model clocks in at 5.9 seconds. And it's not just about speed, they've also boosted the range.
Okay, give me the numbers. How much range are we talking?
So the AWD model boasts a 342-mile range, and even the RWD version comes in at a respectable 289 miles. But here's what's really impressive. The 2025 AWD model actually charges faster than the 2024 long-range RWD, even though that one had an LFP battery, which are known for their fast charging. So to give you some context, LFP batteries are a type of lithium-ion battery that prioritize stability and longevity over pure energy density.
So it sounds like Tesla has made some serious advancements in battery technology. This isn't just a minor refresh. This is a major leap forward.
Exactly. They're pushing the boundaries on multiple fronts: design, technology, performance. It's clear they're not resting on their laurels. They're fighting tooth and nail to stay ahead in this increasingly competitive market.
All right, so all these exciting new features are great, but there is a shadow looming over this Model Y launch, that massive vehicle recall.
Yeah. This recall is a significant development. It affects over 200,000 vehicles, including Models 3, Y, S, and X, built between January 2023 and December 2024.
Whoa, that's a lot of cars. What exactly is the problem?
The issue is with the onboard computer hardware, which can short-circuit and potentially disable critical safety features, like the rear-view camera.
So this isn't just a software glitch. That can be fixed with an over-the-air update. This is serious hardware.
Exactly. It's not something Tesla can fix remotely. Owners will have to take their cars to a service center to have the faulty hardware replaced.
And to make matters worse, the faulty hardware is the latest HW4 computer, also known as the AI4 computer. This is the brain behind Tesla's full self-driving system.
That's right. This recall is a major setback. For Tesla's self-driving ambitions, it raises questions about the reliability of their hardware and the potential delays it could cause for their full self-driving rollout.
It's a double whammy for Tesla, launching this impressive new Model Y, but at the same time, they're dealing with a recall. That strikes at the heart of their most ambitious technology.
It's a crucial moment for them. How they handle this recall could have a major impact on their reputation and their future.
All right, so we've got a refreshed Model Y that's packed with innovation, but facing a serious recall. That could undermine Tesla's self-driving goals. And as if that wasn't enough, Their stock has been on a roller coaster ride lately.
Yeah, the stock market hasn't been kind to Tesla during the holiday week. But to be fair, the entire market has been pretty volatile.
What's been going on in the market that's affecting Tesla's stock price?
Well, the Nasdaq dipped below its 50-day moving average, which is never a good sign. And Treasury yields hit a 52-week high after a surprisingly strong jobs report.
So it's a combination of factors, both specific to Tesla and the broader market trends.
Exactly. It's a reminder that even a company as innovative and disruptive as Tesla isn't immune to the ups and downs of the market.
This is definitely a turning point for Tesla. They've got a lot to prove, both with this new Model Y and with their ability to address this recall effectively.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how they navigate these challenges and what moves they make next.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after a quick break. It's a high-stakes game for Tesla right now, but let's get back to that Model Y for a minute. What really jumps out at you from all these updates?
Honestly, it's the PUVX, the sheer volume of changes. It's not just a little nip and tuck here and there. Yeah. They've overhauled the design, the tech, the performance, everything. It's almost like they're trying to reinvent the Model Y from the ground up.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. They're not just iterating, they're innovating aggressively. Makes you wonder if they're feeling the heat from the competition. Okay, so we talked about those sleek light bars and the cool new glacier blue color, but I'm still stuck on that. Indirect reflective rear light bar. How does that even work? It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, it's pretty ingenious, actually. So instead of the light shining directly outwards, it bounces off a special reflective surface inside the car's body. Yeah. And that's what creates that diffused glow. It's not just a design gimmick. It's actually a really clever way to make the lights more visible without being too harsh or distracting.
So it's like they're bending light. That's some next-level design thinking. I wonder how it impacts visibility at night, though, especially in bad weather.
Yeah, that's a good question. It'll be interesting to see how it performs in real-world conditions. But, you have to admire Tesla's willingness to experiment with these new technologies, really push the boundaries of what's possible.
Yeah, they're not afraid to take risks, that's for sure. Remember the yoke steering wheel? That was a bold move, even if it wasn't universally loved.
Speaking of bold moves, those redesigned body castings are pretty impressive. Go from 70 parts down to 1. It's mind-boggling.
But what's the real benefit for the average driver, though? Is it just about making the car lighter? Or is there more to it?
It's about more than just weight reduction. That single-piece casting actually creates a much more rigid structure, which translates to a quieter, smoother ride. Think of it like a solid foundation for a house. It also means fewer potential points of failure. So it can even improve the car's long-term reliability.
So it's about making the car feel more solid and refined, not just lighter. Okay, that makes sense. Now those performance upgrades, a 4.3-second 0 to 60 mile per hour time for the AWD model is nothing to sneeze at. But are those range numbers realistic, or are we talking about ideal conditions here?
Well, that's the million-dollar question with the EV range, isn't it?
Yeah.
It always depends on driving style, temperature, terrain, all those factors. But the fact that they're achieving a 342-mile range with the AWD model, while also charging faster than the previous long-range RWD version with an LFP battery, tells me they've made some serious advancements in their battery tech. It's a promising sign for sure.
But here's the thing that's bugging me. Why remove the tow hitch option? Was it really that unpopular? Or is there something else going on?
It's hard to say for sure. Maybe they're trying to streamline production. Or perhaps they're worried about the tow hitch impacting the car's efficiency. But I have a theory.
Okay, I'm all ears.
What if they're subtly trying to reposition the Model Y as more of a city car, less of a do-it-all vehicle? By removing the tow hitch, they're kind of signaling that this car is optimized for urban driving, efficiency and maneuverability, not hauling heavy loads.
That's an interesting take. Makes you wonder if they're seeing a shift in their target market for the Model Y. Are they moving away from the adventurous, outdoorsy types who need that towing capacity?
It's possible. They might be focusing more on urban professionals, commuters, families, who prioritize style, tech, and convenience over rugged capability.
All right, let's move on to the interior. Those ventilated seats and ambient lighting sound pretty luxurious. But what's the deal with that 8-inch rear touchscreen? Is it just for watching movies? Or is there more to it?
It's not just a screen for entertainment. It's about giving rear passengers control over their environment, climate settings, seat adjustments, even music selection. It's all about enhancing comfort and convenience for everyone in the car.
So it's like a command center for the backseat crew. No more fighting over the temperature or the radio station. That's a parenting win right there. And the improved connectivity with the phone key, clearer calls, and faster Wi-Fi sounds fantastic. What kind of upgrades did they make to achieve that? Did they finally upgrade the Bluetooth?
It's likely a combination of things: a more powerful processor, an upgraded cellular modem, and yeah, probably the latest Bluetooth technology. I mean, they had to do something to keep up with the competition.
It seems like every car these days is basically a smartphone on wheels. It's amazing how much tech is packed into these things.
But let's talk about that turn signal stock comeback. Why do you think they made that U-turn?
This turn signal stock comeback. Is it a sign that Tesla is finally listening to its critics? Or is there like a more strategic reason behind it?
Well, a lot of Tesla enthusiasts weren't exactly thrilled about having to use the touchscreen for everything. Maybe they realized that sometimes simple physical controls are just better, especially for something as essential as a turn signal.
Or maybe they're trying to appeal to a broader audience, people who aren't as comfortable with all-touch interfaces. It's about making the car more user-friendly for everyone.
Makes sense. And those customizable steering wheel buttons are a nice touch. It's like giving people the power to personalize their driving experience. But what about the lack of adaptive suspension? Do you think that was a missed opportunity? Yeah, it's true that adaptive suspension is becoming more common, even in non-luxury vehicles. And it can really make a difference in terms of ride comfort and handling. But maybe Tesla's saving that for a future upgrade. Or perhaps they'll offer it as an option on higher-end trims.
Okay. Let's shift gears. Let's talk about that massive vehicle recall. Over 200,000 vehicles. That's a huge number. What's the potential fallout from this? Could this tarnish Tesla's reputation?
Yeah, recalls are never good news, especially on this scale. It raises questions about quality control and the reliability of Tesla's hardware, especially that HW4 computer. That's so central to their self-driving system.
This isn't just a minor inconvenience. This is a potential safety issue that could have serious consequences. How do you think this will impact their self-driving goals? Will people still trust them to deliver on that promise?
It's a definite setback. It's going to take time and effort to rebuild that trust. They need to be transparent about the problem, fix it quickly, and really reassure customers that they're taking safety seriously.
So they need to act swiftly and decisively to contain the damage. This could be a defining moment for Tesla.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle this. Their response will tell us a lot about their commitment to quality and customer satisfaction.
Speaking of challenges, let's talk about Tesla's stock performance. It's been a wild ride lately. Do you think this recall, combined with the volatile market, could spell trouble for their stock price?
It's definitely adding more fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
Investors are already jittery about the economy, and this recall is just going to make them even more cautious.
So it's a perfect storm of negative news hitting Tesla all at the same time. Could this send their stock price tumbling?
It's possible. But remember, Tesla's a company that's known for bouncing back from adversity. They've faced challenges before, and they've always found a way to come out stronger.
So it's not time to panic just yet?
Not necessarily,
Yeah.
but it's a good reminder that
Yeah.
even the most innovative companies aren't immune to market forces and unexpected setbacks. It's a roller coaster ride,
Yeah.
and we're all just along for the ride.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. We've analyzed the Model Y refresh, dissected the recall situation, even touched on the turbulent stock market. But let's zoom out for a moment. Let's look at the bigger picture.
What does all of this tell us about the state of the EV industry as a whole?
It seems like the EV market is becoming increasingly competitive. Tesla's not the only game in town anymore.
You're right. Companies like BYD and Xiaomi, they're emerging as serious contenders. And traditional automakers, they're finally getting in on the EV game. It's a crowded field, and everyone is fighting for a piece of the pie.
So it's not just about technology anymore. It's about brand loyalty, marketing, and appealing to a wider range of consumers.
Exactly. The EV market is maturing, and that means the rules of the game are changing. It's not just about being first to market anymore. It's about being the best.
So Tesla is facing pressure from all sides. They need to innovate, they need to execute flawlessly, and they need to convince consumers that they're still the leader in this space. No pressure, right?
It's a challenge, for sure, but it's also an opportunity. This is where the real innovation happens, when companies are pushed to their limits.
It's going to be fascinating to see how this all plays out. The EV market is in a state of flux, And the next few years are going to be incredibly exciting. But before we wrap things up, I want to bring it back to the human element.
What do you mean?
Well, we've talked a lot about the technology, the market forces, the competition. But what about us, the drivers? What does the future of driving look like in this rapidly evolving landscape?
That's a great question. And it's one that's becoming increasingly relevant. As self-driving technology continues to advance, the lines between driver and passenger
Ah,
are starting to blur.
yeah. Tesla's recall actually highlights this shift. You know that HW4 computer that's causing all the trouble is a key component of their full self-driving system. It's a reminder that this technology is incredibly complex and still very much under development.
And it raises all sorts of questions about safety, ethics, and the role of humans in the driving experience. Are we ready to hand over control to a machine? Do we even want to?
Those are big questions that we need to be asking ourselves as a society. But beyond the ethical considerations, there's also the question of personal preference. Will people embrace autonomous driving? Or will they prefer to hold on to that sense of control behind the wheel?
It's likely to be a mix of both. Some people will be eager to embrace the convenience and the potential safety benefits of self-driving cars. They'll see it as a way to reclaim their time and attention while commuting or on long road trips.
But others will. They'll miss the feeling of being in control, the joy of driving. For them, it's not just about getting from point A to point B. It's about the experience, the connection with the car, the road, the freedom of movement.
Exactly. It's about more than just transportation. It's about personal expression, individual choice,
Yeah.
and a sense of autonomy.
So it's not just a technological evolution, it's a cultural shift, a reimagining of our relationship with cars and driving.
It's a fork in the road, with two very different paths emerging. On one path, we have cars that drive themselves, freeing us up to focus on other things. And on the other path, we have cars that are still driver-focused, but enhanced with advanced safety and assistance features.
And the choice will ultimately be ours. We as consumers will decide which path we want to take.
It's a reminder that technology is a tool, and how we use it is up to us. We have the power to shape the future of driving, to decide what role cars will play in our lives.
So it's not just about Tesla or BYD or any particular company. It's about a much bigger conversation, a conversation about the future of mobility and our place in it.
And that's what makes this whole topic so fascinating. It's not just about cars. It's about us, about humanity, and how we navigate this rapidly changing world.
We've only scratched the surface here. There's so much more to explore, so many questions to ask, so many possibilities to imagine.
And that's the beauty of it. The journey is just beginning.
It really feels like we're on the verge of a transportation revolution. It's exciting and a little bit scary all at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a time of transition, and it's raising a lot of questions. Like, if cars are driving themselves, what happens to the whole concept of car ownership? Will we even need to own cars anymore?
That's a wild thought. Imagine a world where you just summon a car whenever you need it, like ordering an Uber, but without the driver.
It could change everything about urban planning, transportation infrastructure. We might not need as much parking space, and our cities could become more pedestrian-friendly.
But wouldn't that disrupt entire industries? What happens to car manufacturers, dealerships, mechanics, even insurance companies?
It's hard to say for sure, but there will definitely be winners and losers in this transition. Some industries will adapt and thrive, while others may struggle to keep up. It's a classic case of disruptive innovation.
So we're not just talking about new cars here. We're talking about a potential paradigm shift in how we think about transportation as a whole.
Exactly. It's a much bigger conversation than just Tesla or any individual company. It's about the future of mobility and how we as a society choose to navigate this new landscape.
Yeah. We've been focusing a lot on Tesla today, but let's not forget that they're not the only ones pushing the boundaries of EV technology and self-driving capabilities. What are some of the other key players in this space that we should be watching?
Well, BYD is a major force to be reckoned with, especially in China. They're producing a wide range of EVs, from affordable compacts to luxury SUVs, and they're rapidly expanding their global reach.
And they're not just focused on cars, right? I read that they're also involved in electric buses and trucks, even monorail systems.
That's right. They're taking a holistic approach to electric mobility, tackling multiple segments of the transportation industry. It's an ambitious strategy, and it seems to be paying off for them.
And then you have companies like Xiaomi, who are coming from the tech world. and bringing a fresh perspective to the EV game. I mean, they're known for their smartphones and other consumer electronics, but now they're making a big push into electric cars.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. These tech giants are bringing their expertise in software, user interfaces, and connectivity to the automotive world. They're not burdened by the legacy of traditional car manufacturing, so they're able to move quickly and experiment with new ideas.
It's like they're shaking things up, forcing the established players to step up their game. But let's not forget about the traditional automakers. They're not sitting idly by while all this is happening.
Definitely not. Companies like Volkswagen, Toyota, and General Motors, they're investing heavily in EVs and developing their own self-driving technologies. They're playing catch-up, but they have the resources and the expertise to become major players in this space.
So it's a multi-front battle with new entrants, tech giants, and traditional automakers, all vying for dominance in this rapidly growing market.
Yeah, it's an exciting time to be following this industry. There's so much innovation happening,
Yeah.
and the pace of change is accelerating.
Yes.
It's hard to predict who will ultimately come out on top. But one thing's for sure, the future of transportation is electric.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the specifics of Tesla's latest moves to the broader trends shaping the entire EV industry. But as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought. It's easy to get caught up in the hype, the technology, the market forces. But at the end of the day, it's all about people.
That's a great point. It's about how this technology impacts our lives, our communities, our planet.
It's about creating a future where transportation is safe, sustainable, and accessible to everyone.
It's about finding solutions that benefit humanity as a whole, not just a select few.
It's about making choices that are aligned with our values and our vision for a better world.
And it's about recognizing that we all have a role to play in shaping that future.
So as you go about your day, think about the choices you make, the cars you drive, the technologies you embrace. Your actions, however small they may seem, can contribute to a more sustainable and equitable transportation future.
Keep learning, keep questioning, and keep pushing for a better tomorrow. The journey is far from over, but the destination is worth striving for.
And that's a wrap on this deep dive into Tesla. We hope you enjoyed our exploration of the latest updates and what they mean for the future of driving. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.